Right guys, today we're gonna talk about 40 vanilla fragrance that I have in my collection that I wanted to talk about because why not? This is Clémence, I talk about fragrance, welcome back. I chose vanilla that has a strong dominance in vanilla note. Nothing ambery. There's not going to be fragrances that have a more dominant note than vanilla because I really wanted to focus on straightforward vanilla. In general, when you talk about vanilla fragrance, you would say, oh, these are sweet, gourmand, but it also can be spicy, sometimes a woody facet, and animalic notes. In perfumery, we use vanilla as a base note because it's great to give like a bit of character, a bit of density to the scent, a bit of depth, but it also is a really long-lasting ingredient usually. That's why it's added so much in so many different types of fragrances. Vanilla is actually part of the orchid family. Vanilla scent, as we know in perfumery, is extracted from vanilla pod. It can be natural, but it can also be reproduced synthetically to avoid some costs, you know, in your fragrances, because some vanilla fragrance can be extremely expensive, and I'm gonna explain you why. It comes from Indonesia, Madagascar, Mexico, l'île de la Réunion, with especially the Bourbon one, Tahiti, China. One of the most famous vanilla actually present in the market is the Madagascar vanilla. Naturally, the vanilla was not present in Madagascar, it was introduced. There's not usually the insect responsible for pollinating the vanilla bean plant. So what happened? How do you create that vanilla then if you don't have this natural composition? Well, it's actually done mostly by hand. They take like the two pistils of the vanilla pod, they put it together, snap it a little bit. They're called the matchmakers. From the vanilla pod, you can get a lot of different types of vanilla. You can get the vanillin, that it's mostly the natural aroma that develop in a vanilla pod. It's said to be very sugared, and vanillin can be reproduced synthetically, and you can get that vanillin as well. That is gonna be sold at a lower price because it's not directly the vanilla absolute, it's not directly the direct extraction. Most vanilla that we smell on a daily basis is actually vanillin. You can call it synthetic vanilla if you prefer, because that's mostly what it is. It's very sweet, it smells like a cake, you know, but like if you take the actual extraction of the vanilla pod, it's mainly much more deeper, richer, woody accord, even animalic. If you take an extraction of 1 kilogram of the vanilla pod, it's around €1,000. If you want to extract 1 kilogram of liquid artificial vanilla, which is the synthetic vanillin, this is €45. And that's why mostly the fragrances that are cheaper price is vanillin, and that's why it smells very sugared and very sweet. But you don't get that smell usually in more expensive extraction of vanilla. You get the sweet effect, but not as sugared. The first step is the hand pollination. You have the harvesting, which is the green pods, and then you're gonna take them to curing. And curing can last for months. You dry the pod, you make them sweat, and then you can extract it. You can extract the tincture, which you can get by macerating beans in alcohol, but you can also extract the vanilla absolute, which is usually extracted with solvent. When you see like the composition of a fragrance and you see vanilla, it's usually vanillin. It's important to precise because the smell is going to be drastically different. So let's go with my fresh vanilla, Valentino born in Roma. That's the masculine version of it. And I've put it in the fresh because it's mainly aromatic lavender. Generic common smell that you used to in the masculine range, maybe a little bit shower gel-like, you know, this very soapy kind of smell. But you can smell the sweetness of the vanilla, the Majestic Vanilla. Cinnamon, orange blossom, labdanum vanilla. It feels overall quite fresh, even though you can smell the cinnamon way. It has a little bit of a greener undertone. To be fair, it's a very strange vanilla. It's not probably my favorite of Alexandre J fragrances. I would probably recommend to you more the Zafir Oud Vanille. That is a coconut pastry-like vanilla, but I finished the bottle, so I'm not talking about this. Bois 1920, Notturno Fiorentino. I actually kind of wore that a lot, especially last year. I was really obsessed by the fragrance. Even though it's quite heavy, it's mainly blackcurrant, fruitier vanilla, syrupy blackcurrant. So the very famous Libre YSL. I love that fragrance since forever. It's mainly white flowers, but a lot of lavender. One of the first fragrance for women that has really that heavy lavender Next category, we're going to the gourmand vanilla. Nowadays, people love gourmand. So I've got a lot of Kayalis here because I think this is their trademark and they like vanilla. Most of them are quite girly, huh? Let's face it. You have the classic Vanilla 28. They've been known for it. It's more like a powdery, gourmand, sweet vanilla. It smells more like a vanillin fragrance, so it's very sugared. I don't really use it on its own because I feel it lacks of density to me. But I like to layer it with, for example, strong oud or very resinous fragrance or very woody fragrance. I think it gives like a nice touch to a fragrance. It's very powdery, leaves a great sillage. Usually you can smell it from far away. I complimented girls that were wearing that before actually without knowing what it was. I was like, oh, this is a really nice gourmand sweet fragrance. Vanilla coco. Yeah, I love that for summer. It's very fun. I should have put that in the fresh one actually. Vanilla Royale, the huge crème brûlée accord. It's my favorite, I think, of Kayali's actually. A little bit boozy with rum, and me loving like more heavier, more character kind of fragrance that's more resonating to me. And I think compared to the others, I find much more density and much more strength in that fragrance. I could definitely wear it alone. Vanilla Oud. Probably the one I like the least in the vanilla collection of Kayali. Classic Middle Eastern smell. Rose, musk, powdery compared to the rest of the vanilla. Actually, my boyfriend wears that more often than me. I think it's really nice on him actually, very addictive. The latest one is Vanilla Candy, Violet Bonbon. You can really smell the crystal sugary note in there. I've got Memories Gold by Superz. I like it. I just wish Superz fragrance were a little bit more delicate. I find usually them a bit heady because of the synthetic note that is really screaming in the fragrance. It's full on, right in your face, very bling bling, extremely intoxicating, and I do personally believe that when it's too much, it's too much. Gold Noir by Majouri is affordable. All of the fragrances are quite simple usually, but they're very affordable, and Gold Noir is probably my favorite. It smells a bit like toffee, caramel, chocolatey, cinnamon-like as well. Zara Supreme Vanilla, the basic kind of vanilla. At the beginning you can smell the alcohol, that's why I'm doing this. I use it to layer sugared, burnt gourmand. Next we have Vampirum by Lorenzo Pazzaglia. Very strong. I love that fragrance. I wouldn't wear it a lot because it's so much that you have to be in a good mood. You have to want to wear something extremely sexy, extremely strong to wear that fragrance, but it's like full on vanilla. You have so much different type of vanilla, you don't know what you're smelling, and you, oh my god. Instantly the first note for me is the rum, especially on men, this boozy accord is to die for. It's extremely sexy. This video is gonna give me a headache. In the designer range, you have Devotion, huge vanilla, kind of pastry-like, smell more like a cake, lemon pie. What you can smell is candied lemon, and that's why I hesitated to put it in the vanilla group. Actually, not too long ago, I did like a cake. I'm really bad at pastry, but I did like a basic, fluffy cake, sponge cake with vanilla. It was a little bit vanilla-like, and I've put a lot of lemon in there. Orange blossom as well, and it was smelling a bit like Devotion, so huge change compared to what usually you can have in terms of vanilla in the designer range. Next in the gourmand is Sogno in Rosso. So I only put it in the gourmand because you can smell a huge lactonic note. It even have some, I think it's juniper berries, so you have like a bit of a pine note in there. Very fluffy, very round. Compared to all the fragrances I showed you, I think it's the most sophisticated, more easy to wear. I think it has something a little bit more timeless. So for example, it's not as concentrated as would be Vampirum or stuff like that, so it's more pleasant, you know. Terence Hughes here that I have, so I would say these one are not completely straightforward, but I wanted to add them because they have a very strong and very in-depth vanilla note. Forbidden, sweet vanilla, but it has also a dominance of chocolate, cherry, so it's full on, a little bit of rose and a little bit of orange as well when you open it. So it's a nice contrast really, but it's so in-depth, so warm, so the density, and when I say that, it's like you can nearly feel the oil in the fragrance, and that's a compliment I would give actually to all Terence Hughes fragrance. I find them very layered, very rich. It's very transparent with what ingredients he used on the website, which is really appreciated, and you can tell concentration that is absolutely crazy, because you know, like nowadays people, they're going to tell you there's 20% extract of the fragrance and it doesn't smell like it, you know. So it's really like more like a marketing language. And that's why in my channel, I don't really tell you, for example, oh, it's 20% extra, 30% extra. It doesn't mean anything nowadays, just to let you know. But in here, I really feel the concentration of the ingredients is really high. My favorite of Iron Terence is Boss Beach. Sweet, heavy, concentrated vanilla with a bit of chocolate and cherry actually. But it has this peachy note that is really interesting in there, and a little bit of coconut, so it feels a little bit more smoother to me, a little bit more rounder, and I can nearly smell a little bit of a tropical tone in there. I absolutely love that. It's such a gem. Next, we go into the category of the floral vanilla. So you know, like in vanilla fragrance, I actually didn't tell you in the intro, but you have kind of three big type of vanilla fragrance. You have the Tahitian vanilla that smell usually sweet and floral. You have the Bourbon vanilla that is intense, rich and animalic, and you have the Madagascar vanilla that we talked a lot, that is usually honeyed, a little bit clean and more powdery than the rest. Those kind of fragrance, they really made me think of Tahitian vanilla, even if most of them don't use Tahitian vanilla. Let's go from the cheapest actually. Vanilla Blossom by Monotheme Venezia. Guys, if you don't know this brand, if you want cheap fragrances that are gorgeous and doesn't smell overly crap synthetic, they're all really great. I think I bought this one for £9 or so. Obviously it's synthetic, it's light or whatever. It's mainly orchid flower, so you can smell like a delicate, light and fluffy powdery vanilla. Sensual Vanilla by Zara, lighter vanilla, sugared, a little bit more floral. Night Star by La Montaña. It's a little brand from Spain, but the founder are originally British. They have a huge collection of candle and they're mostly known for it. If you like fragrances like Angel Terre Magla, but you want it super light, this is nice. At the beginning you smell more like the florals that are very dominant, but then it dries down to like a more powdery and a little bit hypnotic. It's not one of my favorite, but it's a nice vanilla floral. Voilà. Next is YSL Manifesto Elixir. I'm not gonna go through this too much because it's discontinued since a while now, but it's one of my favorite vanilla in the designer range. It has a lot of white florals, tuberose, very creamy florals, and the vanilla was absolutely intoxicating. Not Vanille by Micallet. So I think this fragrance has been talked about quite a lot actually on social media, but I think it's a little bit normal because Micallet send the fragrances to a lot of influencers, including me. I received this. I was expecting more Buzzino, a bit of nice little florals, and rum and cognac. It's very light. It makes me think of a designer fragrance. So when I say this, it's not bad, but it's just like I have the impression to have smelled similar thing in the designer range, which for me is a little bit, you know, like for especially Micallet, you're used to a great and intoxicating and very special fragrances. Not all the time, because sometimes they're a little bit, you know, especially, oh my god, like I don't know guys if you have smelled the new Désir Toxique. If you like softer, breezy note, then you should try this fragrance because then it might be for you. Next is encore une fois by Infiniment Coty Paris. Alors that's feels buttery. Bourbon vanilla actually that they use in the fragrance, so you can smell something a little bit more charismatic. You can smell a little bit of honeyed facet in the fragrance. Silky trail, beautiful, great longevity. A vanilla that feels a bit more mature to me. I've put it in the florals because it's orchid that you have. It's very nude sex. It's so beautiful, you know. I would say in the same kind of vibe is Esplendor by Granado. You're gonna like it if you like a little bit more resinous fragrance. Gentle Fluidity Gold, for example, by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, that looks a bit similar as this. I would say this one is a little bit more softer. It's closer to the skin. It's for some people that want the vanilla to not be too sugary, not too sweet. Great balance with lily notes. Definitely wear that, for example, with a guy on a date, to the restaurant. I think it's really appropriate. Amouage Love Delight. I love this during summer. I absolutely love this. Fizzy opening with ginger. A lot of mandarin and orange, and that's why I enjoyed it more during that season, because I think it gives me like a a more like fruity, uplifting vibe, and I put it in the category of florals because for me I can really smell the heliotrope, which is like a delicate little florals that gives a more romantic feeling to the fragrance. And Mondo Jane Vanille des Afriques, and I would tell you something, this is my number one. Very sophisticated and elegant way. It's nearly like an animalic touch to it and a woody touch to it. Balanced it with some orris butter, and that's why I've put it in the florals. I mean, orris is more like a root rather than a flower, but I think it gives like a little bit of a florally facet to the fragrance. The buttery side of it is incredible. One of the most honest and authentic extraction of a vanilla pod that I smelled. Oh, I should have talked about this at the beginning. It's Valentino, born in Roma. The light vanilla scent, like very simple. You have a huge florally jasmine, you know, like white florals, very easy, kind of a dump rich in a collection. Cheeky and fun. Next, we're gonna go to the spices. We have to talk about Musk Ravageur. Me, one of the sexiest fragrances I've ever smelled. By the way, there's a controversy about this because it has been reformulated and apparently the new ones reformulated are not as animalic. Actually, people say it's very flat. I've got an older batch, vanilla, animalic, cinnamon, clove, very intoxicating, primitive, animalic, sexual note in there that is very dirty, and I absolutely love that. Material by Amouage. This is if you like resins, LME, frankincense, you like those type of scents. It's a balsamic vanilla created by the queen of vanilla, which is Cécile Zarokian. She's a queen in vanilla fragrance. She did many type of fragrances, but usually she likes to make it very sticky, resinous, you know, it's interesting. I really like this. I think it's a beautiful vanilla as well. Palais Bourbon is one of the latest release of Memo. More chachi actually. It smells like cold stones to me. It gives me a very antique, ancient rum type of feeling. You're very deep, very dark, a lot of incense. They used an absolute. You also have a lot of woody note with Aquilaga wood. That's stunning, hein? Like, oh my god. Do you know what? Sometimes it nearly makes me think of Grand Soir, but in more incense-like. The more affordable, you should try Essentiel Parfum Divine Vanille. I really would like to praise this fragrance more than the others just for the price of this. You can tell it's a proper vanilla that is used. It's a Madagascarian vanilla. You can really smell it. Straightforward, it's a bit more woody. The brand is cruelty-free, the brand is vegan, the brand uses 89% of natural beetroot as well, alcohol to create the fragrances as a base, so it's quite rare. Their fragrances are not too complex. They don't have too many layers, but they're always simple and very beautifully done. I would say maybe like a matière première, for example, something like this. You're gonna have it for your money. Not as textured and not as heavy as those fragrances I showed you, but this compromise everything. Beautiful ingredient, beautiful longevity, beautiful resins, beautiful layers, natural, and great price. So see, you can still do fragrances for an affordable price even when you use those kind of ingredients. And then we're going to talk about woody vanilla, the Architects Club by Archist. This is a gem, very soft, you know, like you can, like nearly cashmere, like it's so enveloping, you know? Beautifully balanced with some I think it's juniper berries for a gentleman collection, a man that wants something mature and sophisticated as a vanilla. This is your best choice. In everything I show you, this is your best choice. Vanilla Edesia, another creation by Cécile Zarokian. This is a very strong one. It's not linear at all. It keeps moving and moving and moving. So be careful. If your skin is not too hydrated, usually it can turn those kind of fragrances. Vanilla Absolute is totally unapologetic. Like it's so charismatic, it's so sexy, so dark. It's the kind of person that doesn't give a about the opinion of others. You're gonna wear this because you want to be like, this is me. It's a bit salty. You have cumin, like spices, so it's not usually spices that are very popular, so you need to enjoy that. A lot of frankincense, animalic, pungent kind of smell, dirty, sweaty note. My boyfriend was wearing that to go to work the other day. He came back and he said, this is too strong to go to work. Musky, fluffy, clean, kind of vanilla. So if you like vanilla but you don't want it to be too intoxicating, you probably want to feel more envelope, powdery smell, you love powdery smell, you like a little bit more delicate, clean fragrances. This is really the vibe nowadays. There's a huge tendency of people liking clean scent. Well, this is the one you should aim for. Not all of them are clean because I've put powdery and clean at the same time, and this is for one reason, is because those fragrances are more musky. Using white musk. White musk can give a huge powdery sillage to a fragrance, and it also can give something clean to a scent, and gives like maybe like a more cottony and airy texture to a scent. So that's why they are here. Girls can do anything from Zadig & Voltaire, like a fluffy floral as well. It's been discontinued. What a terrible news. Nebras by Latafa, clean as well, but it's also really intense with red berries, white chocolate type of notes. I really like this. You know, I'm not really a big fan of the concept of Latafa because most of them are kind of dupe and stuff like this, but I have to say this vanilla is really cozy. In the vanilla fragrance that are super cozy, you can try Jovoy, Fire at Will. More powdery note with the mimosa. Cocooning, enveloping aspect, very fluffy. You're by the fireplace, you're wearing that, you want to have some cuddly effect. This is so good. We have vanilla powder. Oh my god, yes. I could have put it in a gourmand, definitely. A vanilla sponge cake, and you've put a sprinkle of coconut on top of it. I was originally very disappointed by the fragrance because I saw it was weak compared to the rest of the collection, and now I cannot stop wearing it. So next, in Sulo by Jeroboam. So this one is full on. Be careful because it's just powdery vanilla, nully smelling like toffee caramel to me. It feels a bit burnt. I love it during the evening to feel cozy, and even like to go out. I think it's so stunning because it's intoxicating as well. It leaves a trail that is to die for. But be careful because this one is very heady. So I feel like if you're not used to like heavy powders and heavy toffee gourmand vanilla, you're gonna find this completely heady for you. My last one is Sand and Skin. This is the latest release by FLORAL. So it's a beautiful vanilla. It's a Madagascarian vanilla, but what is interesting in there is that compared to everything here, they treat that vanilla more in a clean and light way. So it's extremely close to the skin. It's not something that is there to really perform for someone that like skin scent. Lilies. And it's a flower that always gives something a bit light to a scent, very sophisticated, very elegant, close to the skin. And it's funny because on the skin it feels a little bit more resinous than it actually is. It smells a bit like a sun lotion as well, but not like the one that we think with Monotheme. It's more like a skincare, but a fancy one. And if you watch this video until the end, the word is going to be very simple. You just type the word vanilla. And I want to give you a huge thank you if you sent recently some super thanks. So that's really nice. You don't have to send money, but know that it's always appreciated if you do so. It's too much, really, but thank you so much. It really encouraged me to carry on because sometimes you can't imagine how much time I spend editing videos nowadays. Well, actually, since I started, but yes, so it's really encouraging. So thank you so much. Have a lovely day. See you soon.
Viens, je t'emmène dans mon paradis bleu.